Aparicio, and I am a group piano teacher in Cleburne, Texas. And on Wednesdays, I love to come and have a conversation with group piano teachers and their amazing studios and share what they're doing. And today we have Janet Maass Fitz. And Janet, can you turn your camera on? Okay, there you are. There you go. And now your mic.
Okay.
Yes, it worked. Yay.
Yay.
Welcome, Janet. Will you go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know where you are living, your studio, and how did you get started teaching piano?
Oh, great. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for having me. I am feeling very privileged to be here with you. It's so speaking with you directly. I've been following you for many years.
Yes, we just on the computer.
Yes. So thank you for having me. My name is Janet. Thank you. So my name is Janet Maass Fitz, and I've been teaching piano for about 37 years.
Wow.
I started as my family is musical, and I sang in the children's church choir, and then I wanted to be like my big sister, so I taught myself how to play her flute, and like when I was 7 and 8 years old, and then I joined the school band in 3rd grade, and I think a year before they normally do, and then soon after started piano lessons, played in band all the way through all my elementary, high school, flute and piccolo, and played piano in the jazz band in middle school and high school.
Oh my goodness.
Added saxophone in middle school and then percussion in high school, and decided, yeah, it's crazy, kind of crazy stuff. But well, there's just a lot of music happening in my family. So it's just, I always wanted to be challenged, something else. So decided that actually I remember when I was about 17, I went to Europe with a study music abroad experience, and spent 3.5 weeks touring Europe, went to 8 different countries. It was a big blur of performances, super fun, and came home and realized I don't really want to live out of a suitcase. So, so I knew I was going to do something with music, but it was then that I did a lot of soul searching and realized that my gifts were teaching and music. So I went to university and got my undergrad degree in music ed with as a piano and voice major with percussion minor. And
oh my goodness.
Yes.
Is there an instrument you do not play?
I played around with guitar, but I struggled because the neck was, I do not have piano hands. My fingers are not real long, and I struggle with the neck. Ukulele I can do, but guitar, unless it's
what about violin?
I did learn a little bit of, I had violin 101 in college, so yeah, I can teach beginner violin too. Yeah, we had to learn all the instruments as a so I was graduated with a K-12 certification, music, instrumental and vocal music.
Okay.
My first assignment, the first thing first teaching experience was in public education. So I taught general music in the elementary level, and then got married to a friend that I met in college, and we were in percussion ensemble together, and we shared a marimba, and it was very fun. But anyway, he went into the Air Force. He was an active duty Air Force musician. And so he was a percussionist and keyboardist.
Okay.
He's a jazzer. He's like, I'm classically trained, and he was the jazzer. So anyway, I followed him around as we were stationed in different places, and had to reinvent myself every time we moved. And
Yes.
so it was hard because I'd be like 2 years at this school, a year at this school, whatever. It was always, a couple of years here, a couple of years there, and then had to get up and move. And that was hard because, in public education, you build a program just like you do in a studio. You build a program, and it takes a little while to get it to where it's becoming.
Yes.
So that was a bit of a struggle. But then when we started a family, I had taught public education for about 7 years, and then we started a family. And up until the time our first daughter, we have 3 kids, 3 girls, and up until the very minute the first one was born, I was torn whether I would go back to teaching public education. And I remember the minute she was born, I remember feeling like there was a voice that said, "You're staying home." So at that point, I had to reinvent myself as a mother, but also I needed to keep my career. And so how am I going to maintain my identity as a music teacher? So I started a private studio. And at that time, my husband separated from active duty service, and we moved a couple of times until we got to where we settled in Lancaster County, PA. So that's where I've been teaching for the last 25 years.
Okay.
And so
well, that was 2 reinventions you did. So you were teaching at the public school for about 7 years. And then you started teaching at home, but you moved. So every time you move, were you moving close enough to continue with those students, or were you always totally starting from scratch?
Total scratch.
Oh my God.
Totally from scratch all the time. So in the first 12 years we were married, we moved 7 times. So it was very hard.
Wow. Yes.
So then I am a very determined individual, and always knew that, like I said, when I was 17, I had a come to Jesus moment when I had to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with this music? I know that I'm supposed to do, I'm meant to do something with music, but I'm not a concert pianist. That's just not my path. But music has always been so, and I was also an athlete too. But both of those things were super important to me. And I felt that my career path was teaching. So I knew that even as a mother, becoming a mother, I needed to keep my hands in teaching. So I taught one lessons, but always had, so I always refer back to my earliest memories of musical experiences was always making music with others. Children's choir, band. And then piano with jazz band in school. So, I liked playing. So here was my thinking. As a college student, thinking about, actually, I guess it was after that. It was while I was pregnant and thinking about what I was going to do next. And I realized that my fondest memories were making music with others, making music with my friends.
Yeah.
So piano became my focus in college, my major instrument, because I realized the versatility of it.
Okay.
You can interact collaboratively with piano, but you can sound really great as a soloist. You don't need the band like you do with the flute. You need something else, or what instrument you play. So flute or piano became my main focus, and it has served me very well because it has allowed me to accompany the chorus when I was teaching public school, accompany instrumentalists, and then create a studio around it. Piano is so great for so many things. And one of the things that I have maintained is the collaborative
Mm,
element of my studio, inviting my flute students and my piano students to come together for theory games,
yes,
uh,
yes.
and forming for each other, and
Mhm.
introducing the idea of accompanying to my
Mm, such a good skill to have. So, this was like your introduction to begin group piano. So tell us about your group piano experience.
Okay, so with all of that band background and wanting to interact with others musically in a group setting, I was looking as a young mother for actually, I as a young mother, I brought my 2-year-old, our firstborn, to a music garden class.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that was my
remember your music art. Yes, that's another thing we have in common. Yes.
yeah, yes, and well, we were in, I don't know, in the midst, we were living in wherever it was, near a university, and Jill Hannigan, near University of
Yes.
Delaware. Jill
Yes.
Hannigan had a music school there, a community music school, and
Yes.
it was an author of Musik Garten, and she was
Mhm.
teaching classes there. So I brought my 2-year-old there, and wow, that was like Jill
Yes.
Hannigan was amazing. She
Amazing. I agree
yeah.
totally. I wonder
And
if when I went to Delaware for training, if you were there.
oh, you know what? I didn't train at Delaware.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, I trained at Towson in Baltimore.
Okay.
So it was just a whole,
Oh, I did go to Baltimore also, but anyway.
we'll talk about that another time.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. We'll have to get the dates together and see.
Right, right. So, but that introduction to Music Garden
Mhm.
was life-changing for me because I'd always thought I was going to be a band director. Honestly, that was my, when I was
Yeah.
studying in college, I thought I was going to be a high school band director.
Okay.
But that's not the path I ended up with. But when I had my child in Music Garden class, I realized the foundation of music begins at such
Yes.
a much younger age than what we do in public education.
Right.
We offer in public education. So
Mhm.
I realized the potential as an at-home mom that I could incorporate that into my studio and open up a daytime
Yes.
experience,
Yes.
teaching experience, and for young children who aren't in school yet.
Did you
So
ever use their group piano?
that's
Yeah,
actually what I yes, that's actually what I started with. I kind of
nice.
started, I did it backwards. I started with group piano and then
Then
added
the
the
younger children, okay.
yeah. So
Yes,
it was
I learned so much in that program. Yeah, love it.
yeah. One of the things that I learned that was so helpful to me was their emphasis on child development.
Mhm.
That was something I didn't get in my music training in
Right.
college.
Yeah, oh, I agree totally. Yeah.
So that was really helpful. And I loved their emphasis on your body is your first, your voice is your first instrument.
Mhm.
Learning music is a language, and learning music the same way we learn a mother tongue.
Right. Right.
I love all of that, and I believe in that so much. And I know that there are other programs that have similar
Mhm.
approaches that are very valuable. But I started teaching formally Music Garden classes. I got certified in
Mhm.
2005 and
Okay.
started group piano classes through that curriculum.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that
So did you continue doing group piano that way, or did you move again?
actually I did move again, but I moved in a close proximity.
Okay.
So that time I didn't have to, I mean, I sort of changed my studio some, but in any case, that I couldn't teach. I was living in such a rural area
Oh,
that
okay.
when people would say, "Oh, what do you do?" and I'd say, "I'm a piano teacher and I teach music writing classes." "Oh, what's that?" And I would tell them that, early childhood music education, and they would look at me like I had horns coming out of my head. So, yeah, you don't do anything formally in this area. I'm in the heart of Amish country in like,
Oh.
so there's a very strong traditional
Mhm.
approach
Yeah.
to education. And so I had to drive to a half an hour into Lancaster City to find
Mm.
space where I could find like-minded
Right.
individuals. So I kept a private one-to-one lesson
Mhm.
studio in my home, and then traveled to do Musik Garten classes.
Ah, okay.
And then with that amazing experience in training and experience, teaching group lessons for Musik Garten, I started incorporating that in with my older students. So
Mm.
I went back to the idea of having monthly, which I hadn't done for a while,
Mhm.
monthly group lessons for my private students.
Okay.
So I have done that for, probably, what is it, almost 20 years now. I've done that
Okay.
one-to-one lessons with monthly group lessons
Okay.
for my
Okay.
intermediate and advanced students.
Oh,
And then
okay.
elementary to early intermediate in group lessons.
Mhm.
So I did Musik Garten for a long time until our youngest daughter got sick. She was sick with Lyme disease for like 5 years, and I couldn't
Mm.
maintain the Musik Garten advertising. There was a lot of work in
Yeah.
advertising when that happened. So I've maintained a very small studio for a
Mm.
number of years because of circumstances that limited my ability
Right.
to teach
Right.
more.
Yeah.
So now that brings me to so that's been the last many, I guess 20 years.
Mhm.
And through COVID, oh my goodness, I was ready in 2020, January of 2020. My husband was deployed again, second
Okay.
time to the Middle East, and as musician playing for the troops, that sort of thing. So I decided that when he deployed, I was going to take this class with Sarah Campbell,
Uh-huh.
rebranding boot camp,
Yes.
right? So I took her class and started that January, and then COVID hit. I was just ready to launch. My youngest child was well again, and she was off, and she was back to school, and all of that was good. And now I could spend some time on me and my studio, and was ready to do, okay, I'm gonna advertise for these group lessons and get some new young
Oh my
students.
goodness.
Oh my goodness, yes. So then, COVID hit, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, but I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. So did you teach online? Did you reinvent like we all did?
Yes, I did. And I pivoted in 1 week and put everybody online. I don't even know how, like, I just remember researching hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
Yes.
So, my kids were all college or
Mm.
out of college at this point. So I had all day to
Figure
myself
it
to
out.
figure this out. Yeah. So I had taken maybe a year before that, I had taken a class with Bradley Sowash,
Okay.
a jazz class with him. And he's so smooth, right?
Yeah.
Online.
Yes,
You
he
know,
is.
and so I knew there was this, it can be done, and I don't have to reinvent all of that. It's just, how am I going to do group?
Yes.
So I pivoted to one-to-one lessons with my private students. At
Mhm.
this point, I think I did not have any, the only group lessons I had were the monthly group
Oh, okay. Okay.
at this point. So, because Musik Garten had kind of, through attrition, those students had become my private students.
Right.
And, over time while my daughter was sick and I couldn't start new classes, it
Mhm.
just became one-to-one with
Right.
monthly group lessons. So I pivoted to private online,
Mhm.
and then went to And I had a couple weeks. I'm like, okay, I've got 3 weeks to figure out how I'm going to put these people together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and I think at that point, I think that I may have connected with you somewhere in there, like, hey, how are you doing this? Or how you,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was early on, if it was a few months in, but I remember just trying, researching to the nth degree online,
Yes. We can
what,
all relate to that. Yes. Yes.
yes, yes. So yeah, so group happened online. We did, round robin, okay, site read
Yeah.
this, your measure 2 and 4, your measure,
Right. Right.
whatever. And we made it work.
So
Worked
now,
out.
where are you now with your groups? And
Okay,
you
so now, all right, so I am in the midst of reinventing myself again. Um, I am separated from my husband, and I am in 2 locations right now. I'm living in Newark, Delaware, which is an hour and 15 minutes from the piano store that I
wow.
am working in. I work there 1 day a week for a few hours, and I have a very long standing working relationship with them.
Mhm.
And they needed something to mind the store just
Are
for,
they, do you only work there at the store and teach, and are they charging you rent, or are you rent free?
I am very, very, very fortunate to say that I have free space to teach.
Wow. That is awesome, Janet.
It is awesome. It is amazing. This all dropped in my lap as I'm Christmas shopping in Home Goods, and then I got a call from Ed at the piano store, the Steinway store. Ed said, hey, Janet, Steinway wants the stores to post hours. They've only been working by appointment only for, through
Mhm.
the pandemic. Now they want to post hours. And this guy is a traveling guy. He's been kind of going between stores by appointment. And he said, I'm coming from New Jersey. It's like a 3-hour drive from me. I don't want to be spending,
Right.
every week, spending 4 hours
Yes.
there. So he said, are you interested? We need somebody to mind the store. And I said, yes, I would love to do that. So, and then in that same conversation, he said, and if you want to teach in the store anytime outside of the work hours, it's all yours. I
Amazing.
mean, that
Amazing.
was in December. Like I said, I was Christmas shopping, and while I was, I was thinking, I know that my husband, my marriage is falling apart, and I have to find a space to teach. I can't teach in the house anymore. I need to move, and yada yada. So this just was a godsend.
Oh my goodness. Now, did you have students currently at your house before you moved out?
Yes, yes. I have a teaching studio above my garage with a separate entrance. That was one of the reasons why I loved we picked the house that we moved into, is because it had this separate space where I could shut the door.
Yes.
I not have to be living in my studio,
Mm.
or my studio in my living space, right? So I had this beautiful outside entrance, go up a set of stairs to
Wow.
this bonus room above a garage, and like 26 by 18. So I had 4 keyboards in there and a studio upright. So I used to teach as many as 8 or 9 students. I put 2 on a keyboard. I'd
Yes.
have 9 in that studio space prior to COVID.
Where are all
And
your instruments now?
well, 2 of the keyboards were my husband's and 2 were mine. I
Okay.
sold one, I kept the other, and the piano was still there. The
Okay.
piano, I wanted to move, but I don't have a place for it right now, because I have since moved out of the house. So I have my favorite keyboard. It's a rolling keyboard. I have that in my condo where I'm staying now. And then I teach here in the store 2 days a week. I work here 1 day a week, and I teach here in the store 2
And
days
you
a week.
drive an hour and a half to get there.
Yeah. Yes.
going
Yeah.
and coming.
Yes. It's a long journey.
Janet, you're doing it. You're doing it. I know all this reinventing, but you know what you want to do, and you know how to do it. You needed a place to do it, and you received that gift.
And that is exactly right. I realized somewhere along the way, I realized that I know what my purpose is here. I know my divine purpose is to teach piano. That, and I know that I'm supposed to teach group lessons. I know that all these experiences that I've had prior have led me to this.
Yes.
And I know that this is good for the community. It's good for individuals who, it's recreational playing mostly. Now I do have advanced students that have gone on to college and have majored in piano performance.
Wow.
And piano, I've done that. And in fact, I'm currently coaching a student into that right now. He's been accepted and going on to piano performance. So I do that, but I realize that 90% of my clientele are not going to be performance majors.
Yes.
They're not going to be concert pianists.
Yes.
90% are going to be recreational players. And really that reaches out to even more of people when we give the layperson a space to create.
And I always say this is the way we will keep piano teaching and piano learning alive, is by expanding it and not making exclusive. And so, yes, what you're doing is just beautiful.
Well, thank you, because that's what I just feel that is so important for us as piano teachers to embrace that part of music education and to reach out. And we are so poised right now on this side of the pandemic. We are so poised for developing group lessons because people are so hungry for interaction and being together with others. And what better way than to give them a space to process pain or joy or in this interactive music making.
Beautiful, beautiful. Janet, I could talk to you. Well, we have a lot in common. I could talk to you all day, but I know I say that a lot to everybody because I like to talk and ask questions. But I can't wait to see what this newest reinvention is going to bring for you. Like a year from now, we'll have to get together again, and I'd love to see what you have developed.
Oh, I thank you for even thinking of that, because I love that idea, and it also holds me accountable.
Yes. I know you'll do it. I know you'll do it. Thank you so much, Janet. The teachers are going to love hearing about all of your reinventions. It's beautiful, and know that we are always rooting for you. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much for inviting me and validating me, because it has been very hard for me as an individual under the circumstances that I've experienced in my personal life. And so just being here with you has meant so much to me. So thank you for validating what I do and inviting me to share my experience.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I've learned so much just from listening to each one of you teachers, and what you've shared with us today has been just amazing. So thank you, Janet, so much.
Thank you. And I look forward to talking with you again.
Okay. Bye-bye.